start our yoga class today laying down. So maybe a little pillow under your head. Definitely want some blocks for later. Take your time as you lower on down, maybe straightening your arms and legs, Shavasana, or maybe bending your knees and standing your feet up near the edges of your mat and allowing your knees to rest together at the center. There's a million other ways you can kind of add or subtract to make this feel as comfortable as possible. You want to take a few sighing breaths as you settle in. Go right ahead. Maybe you let your eyes close as gravity just helps you relax. And as you spend the next few minutes breathing and being with your own experience, your own thoughts, your own feelings, sensations, let's just try to be curious and open to anything that comes through. Let's try not to think about the past or the future, anything on your to-do list or what have you. Let's keep getting curious and re-interested in the current sensations, the current depth of your breath, how tense or relaxed your muscles are, anything that makes its way into this present moment. And as much as possible, letting it feel easy, not another demand placed on you, but kind of like a demand released of you. No need to plan or plot. Let's just keep enjoying this breath and giving our bodies a little rest. If you would like to set a dedication or intention for your practice, go ahead and bring something or someone to mind. Let's take 3 clearing breaths in through the nose and sigh through the mouth. Go at your own pace. And starting to bring some small movements in, maybe wiggling fingers and toes or letting your head rock side to side. You could reach into a long body stretch, circling ankles and wrists, pointing, flexing ankles or anything else. All right, let's bring the arms out wide. You can have your legs straight or your knees bent, either way. Arms come out wide, and then go ahead and give yourself a hug, just bringing that right arm on top of the left arm, grabbing opposite elbows or opposite shoulders or opposite sides of your rib cage, whatever feels like a nice little hug to you. And then reach through the elbows. So you end up on the center of the spine. We're gonna just rock back and forth a little bit here, massaging pressure in between the shoulder blades. If your head was on a pillow, you might want to come off of the pillow. It's up to you. I'm just kind of rolling around through the upper body. You could even take like circular motions. They can be really small micro movements, or maybe go a little farther. And then eventually let your arms go out wide and soften. Take a couple of breaths here. Noticing the chest and the collarbones, and then, the shoulders attached there. See, are you feeling like a rounding? To me, I'm feeling like I need to tuck my shoulder blades in together underneath my back, so there's a little more space between collarbones. Eventually, when you feel kind of reset, we're gonna do that little hug again, this time the left arm on top of the right, grabbing hold, and then reaching up through the shoulders and elbows so that you can kind of get back to that area between your shoulder blades. Massaging some pressure there. It's really hard to talk while doing that one for some reason. Ooh, that feels extra good to me today. I'm like coming up into like a half crunch even, like to the side, and that's nice. Okay, coming back down, let your arms go out to the sides, and again, finding some stability. And then we'll hug the knees in towards the chest, and again, finding a little bit of rocking this time now, mostly targeting the low back and the sacrum. If you kind of go onto the sides, you can kind of get into the hips or the glute muscles a little bit. Just a nice way to get things moving. And then start to come up to a seat. You can go onto either side and then press your way up, or maybe rock and roll a couple of times up and down. I'm gonna bring my blanket back in and kind of sit up on this blanket. We'll have the right leg bent and the left leg out straight. Sit up nice and tall here. We're just gonna sit up tall. You can press your hands into your thighs or into the floor or blocks for a little bit of support. We're just gonna sit up tall, and I'm already feeling a stretch through the inner left leg. I wonder if you feel things already happening here too, without even really doing much more than sitting. But that's a lot. There's a lot going on here. And then we're going to side bend toward the left leg. So bringing your left hand down wherever you can reach that left leg. Right hand goes high, up and over. Press that left hand into your left shin, opening up the right armpit just a bit more toward the sky. While you're here with your inhales, spread the fingertips and the toes out wide. And exhale, soften, or maybe even curling your fingers and toes into a little ball. 2 more breaths like that. Inhale, fingers and toes spreading out. And exhale, contract. Last breath like that. And then bring your right hand down to the floor behind you, where you're going to have the option here to come up onto the right shin and knee, lifting your left hand high. So you can kind of come up and down a couple of times if you'd like. I'll show it from the side here too. You can just kind of come up and then go back down, kind of opening up through that left hip flexor a couple times, or you can hang out, maybe circling your left arm a few times when you're there, but no need to push it too far. Side bending through that left side, reaching and expanding. And eventually come on back down. We're going to cross the left leg in. So now we're sitting in a cross-legged seat. Hands can come down to the knees. Let your chin come down toward the center of your chest. Circle your shoulders up towards your ears and then back and down. You could keep up that motion through the shoulders or find stillness as you rest your awareness there at the back of your neck. Slowly starting to rock your head side to side a couple of times, dipping the left ear toward the left shoulder and then back down toward the center of your chest, and then right ear rocking on over toward the right shoulder. You can keep this really small again, working from this kind of micro level, or maybe your body's wanting some bigger movements. Keep experimenting and, of course, breathing. Next time your right ear is towards your right shoulder, just pause there. You could swim your left arm, your left hand around a little bit toward the left side, maybe like you're swirling bath water here. Kind of gives that like massaging like effect sort of through that left side of the neck and shoulder. You could tuck your left hand behind your low back and just work with gravity and your breath to loosen through that left shoulder and side of the neck. At some point with your right ear towards the right shoulder, turn your gaze down toward the right knee or elbow and then up toward the sky, staying on that right side a couple of times. And then come back up to center. Release that left arm if it was tucked away, and then let your left ear come down towards your left shoulder. Swirling that right arm around if you want, or just hanging out. Maybe eventually tucking the right arm behind your back. Kind of feels good to like rock right now, like my whole body kind of side to side. You do you. Find what feels interesting and helpful. And then eventually come back up to our neutral. We're going to switch the cross of our legs, or the uncrossing of the legs here. So now the right leg goes out long, the left knee tucks in. We're sitting up nice and tall here. And again, I feel like this liftedness, and then I feel like this nice amount of stretch and activation through the left inner thigh. Honestly, it feels good just to stay right here. So when you want to, we'll go into our side bend, of course. Sliding that right hand down your right leg any amount. Left arm reaching high and side bending on over to the right with your inhale, spreading the fingers and the toes out wide. And exhale, curling up. Couple like that. And then bringing your left hand down behind you. We can roll up onto that left shin or left knee, reaching the right arm high, kind of pushing through that right hip a little bit here. And again, you can come up and down a couple times. You don't have to go too far. Finding a sweet spot and maybe adding on something like a circle of your right arm or a pattern of breathing that can sustain you well. Eventually lowering back down. You can straighten both legs out, giving everything a little bit of a shake. And then we're moving on to hands and knees next. Taking special care to cushion your knees if you want. Hands beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips. With a big inhale, let's find cow pose, lowering the belly, lifting the gaze and the tailbone. And exhale, cat, rounding it through your spine, tucking your chin, tucking your tailbone. Inhaling to find cow. Exhaling, cat. Inhaling and exhaling. Keep going, taking any detours or add-ons here as well. A little twist or turn could be nice. You might remain here in cat and cow or beyond, or add on a thread the needle pose with me. If so, we're going to lift the right arm high, upward twist. With your next exhale, let's thread the needle. The right hand dips down and through, right shoulder and right side of your head, maybe finding the floor or props. Put your left hand somewhere to support you and support the position. Find your breath into the best of your ability. Notice any expansion you can. Just a little more awareness there in the back of the right shoulder. And let's start to think about switching sides, planting your left hand by your face, pressing your way up, reaching that right arm high. And then go ahead and bring it on down. Right hand plants, left arm reaches high, upward twist. Wait till your next exhale comes. And follow it into a thread the needle position, left arm dipping down and through, left side of the head, finding the floor or props. Working with the expansion you have here for a nice full breath. Obviously, full breaths change with capacity. Here it's like quite restricted. When you're ready, coming out, pressing your right hand into the floor and the left arm coming up high. Lower your left hand down. Let's find our way to extended child's pose, bringing knees out wide and big toes touching. Sinking your seat back toward your heels. Option to bend your elbows and press your palms together just behind your head, maybe your thumbs touching the small of your neck. Is that a thing? Is small the small of your neck? I was thinking the small of your back, but but on your neck. Breathe in such a way that there's a new sense of spaciousness now through the mid region of the back and the lower rib cage. Like you're kind of stretching from the inside. One more breath here. Let's start to rise up to tabletop, grabbing hold of our blocks, and then downward dog. Curl the toes under, start to straighten or almost straighten your legs. We're just getting used to it here. So as long as you're breathing, feel free to make up the rest, maybe bending and straightening opposite knees, or maybe kicking one leg up behind you. Whatever feels good. Just can't say it enough. You know your body better than anyone else probably ever even could. It's easy to just kind of default to somebody like me teaching the class, but I want you to have full permission to default to you. Okay, bending your knees and then walking your way up to the top of your mat. Let's rise on up here, taking it slow, maybe letting your arms dangle or shake on your way up. And of course, we need our little shakeout, bouncing moment here. So get it going however it wants to come out. Maybe a lifting and lowering of your heels. It's just always a good way to start, I think. Maybe some hops or any other kind of wiggles. All right, eventually coming on up to the top of your mat. With an inhale, let's reach both arms high. Exhale, baby back bend. We'll goalpost the arms, bending your elbows, squeeze the glutes as you puff up your chest, maybe looking up a little bit. Inhale, come back up, and exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. We'll step just the right foot back and lower your right knee down to the mat. Sink your hips forward a little bit here so you feel a stretch happening through the inner or that right hip flexor area here. We're going to switch between this low lunge and a half split. So kind of pulling the hips back and peeling your toes, left toes up off of the floor. Just intuitively move between those two. If it feels like too much pressure on that right knee, by all means, grab like a towel or a blanket and cushion that knee on up. Okay, next time your right foot is, or your left foot rather, is planted. Let's bring the left hand and the left hand block to the inside of the left foot. Toe heel your left foot out on the left side off of your mat. We're transitioning to three-legged downward dog here. So curl your right toes under, pick up your right knee, and do what you can to press off of your left foot, lifting it up behind you, three-legged down dog. Just an experiment, no need to be perfect. Big breath in and out. Lower your left foot to the ground and shift forward, high plank. One breath in here. And exhale, lower your knees and lower your chest. Press into the tops of your feet. Inhale, baby cobra lifting through the chest. Keep breathing here at your own pace. If you want, we can press through the hands even more, lifting the body up off of the floor. So it's just your hands and the tops of your feet. This is upward facing dog. And with an exhale, let's find downward facing dog, maybe grabbing hold of your blocks. Big breath in and out. Big breath in and out. Inhale, bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat. Exhale, step your left foot to the outside edge of your mat, and then step your right foot on the outside edge of the mat. Find a little squat. I'm going to bring my blocks back, a little bit of a squat here. With an inhale, we're not going to change the position, but we're going to kind of imbue it with a sense of a halfway lift. So we're kind of puffing the chest up. Exhale in this pose with a sense of forward folding. Do that again. We're inhaling, kind of puffing up, halfway lift, or like maybe inflating, like one of those inflatable dudes. And exhale, kind of sinking back down. Oh yeah, inflatable dude for sure. Inhale waving on up. And exhale, kind of softening. All right, when you're ready, you can bring our hands to the floor or blocks, straightening your legs. This time we'll come up to a real halfway lift position with the hands on the thighs. Let's stay here for a couple of moments and just feel stretch through the back of our thighs. So you might want to pull your shoulder blades back just a little bit more. With an inhale to rise all the way up, joining hands overhead. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Remember your intention if you set one today. And let's take a clearing breath in through the nose. Sigh to release. Inhale, hands reaching high. Exhale, baby back bend, squeeze the glutes, bend your elbows, lift through the chest. Inhale, rising back up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down to your blocks or the floor, stepping just the left foot back. Lower that left knee down right away. We'll get into our hip flexor and thigh, or hip flexor and hamstring stretches here. Like to have blocks on the highest setting, or sinking the hips forward and down a bit, but keep some muscle activation here. So we're stretching, but we're still very active. If we stretch and we're not active at our end range, we're really not doing a lot of good for ourselves. It's not I'm going to get on a soapbox here, but it's not actually that useful to be super flexible. So it can actually destabilize joints if you're just going as far as you can. So we want mobility in larger ranges, not necessarily just flexibility. So we're shifting forward and back here, half splits to low lunge. Eventually, when that right foot plants, we're getting ready to transition to our three-legged down dog. So we're bringing the right foot out to the right edge of the mat or even farther. Curl your left toes under, pick up your left knee, get prepared. And with an exhale, send your right foot back, three-legged down dog. Big breath in and out. Last breath in. And exhale, bring the right foot down, shift forward, high plank. One big breath in. And exhale, knees lower, chest lowers. Inhale, baby cobra. Feel free to stay here or exhale, lower. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, child's pose. Couple nice big breaths. Feeling that stretch from the inside. And then come on up, tabletop, grabbing hold of your blocks. And exhale, downward dog. Two more breaths in this down dog. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, bend your knees, look up toward the top of your mat. But with your exhale, walk your hands to the back of your mat. Forward fold at the back. Inhale, halfway lift. Staying in this lift, halfway lift for your exhale. Feel the back of your thighs. With your next inhale, let's rise all the way up, joining hands overhead. And exhale, bring it down to heart center. Take a few moments. And then let's take a clearing breath, inhaling through your nose and sighing it out. Blinking your eyes open. If you need a little shakeout or a little sip of water, now's a good time for that. We'll do a little bit of balancing next. We always have to do a play on tree pose. Here's a new play on tree pose. So getting yourself close to a wall if you want support, especially when you're doing a new balancing pose, we need more support. We need to accept more support in our lives, I think. We're coming to balance on the right leg or right foot. We can find the classic tree pose, opening the left knee out toward the left side. You can, of course, stay right here. You're feeling a little more formal today. You want to get a little playful with it. We're still going to find an unmoving focal point. So just gazing directly at something, not even just at it, but through that point, your drishti. And the rest is going to be play. We could bring that left leg up a little higher. Maybe the left foot even comes off of your right leg. You can see how far you can keep your left leg out, maybe reaching it toward the top of your mat, out wide or to the back. Basically, the play on tree pose here is we're just trying to balance on the right leg. You're gonna see what else comes to you. Maybe you want to get your upper body into it too. Remember that novel movement is really good. So if possible, at some point, attempting to move in a way that perhaps you've never moved before. Woo. And all those little jerky movements, and if it feels like it's not quite working out, like it still is. It's really good for our brain to kind of struggle through new tasks. Oh, that left or my right foot is really feeling that today. Eventually, oops, I forgot my drishti, my gaze. Eventually, we're going to switch sides. So finding your way down, coming to stand on your left leg. Start with that traditional tree pose with your right knee now out toward the right side. This time I'm going to remember my drishti, gazing directly somewhere. I'm going to tap into my breath a little bit more this time. And if and when you're ready for some novel movement, go ahead and just play a little bit. Try not to be perfect, or don't try to do anything other than just balance and move in maybe a unique kind of way. Ooh. If you haven't fallen or had to touch down, maybe trying even a little bit stranger of a movement. Really nice to have some walls close by. Whew. Eventually stepping it back down, giving everything a shake out. And then we're heading down toward the floor. To the floor, not just toward it. And then we'll lay down. Let's hug the knees in toward the chest. If you like a little rocking up and down the spine, feel free. I know for a lot of people it feels kind of clunky, so don't hurt yourself. But hugging your knees in at some point at the bottom when you're on your back and finding that nice massaging pressure to loosen things up even more. And then we'll take a long body stretch with your arms and legs extending and reaching in opposite directions. We'll take a little side bend, banana pose to the right, walking your heels over toward the right edge of your mat, grabbing hold of the left arm and directing it on over toward the right. So you can imagine yourself in a banana shape. And instead of thinking about crunching as far to the side as you can, let's think about lengthening more through the left side. I really liked inhaling and spreading the left fingertips wide and exhaling, letting my hand come back into a fist. For me, I need my brain wants a little something to keep chewing on. It's a good, in my opinion, a very good way to stay grounded in breath. Just opening and closing through the hand. And then we'll switch sides, walking your heels toward the left edge of the mat, grabbing hold of the right arm or wrist and directing it on over to the left banana pose, expanding through the right side as we bend to the left. And coming back to center, let's bend the knees, stand your feet up on the mat. We can toe heel the feet out a little wider or a little closer at any time. Let's start letting our knees twist side to side. Just both of the knees going in one direction and then up and over to twist in the other direction. This might feel like plenty of a twist on the low back here, especially if you start focusing on what's happening in the low back while you do it. If you do want a deeper twist or different sensations, you could stack both of your knees and twist them on over to one side and just kind of rest there. Just make sure your left shoulder blade can comfortably rest on the ground. Also a really nice stretch here. Right now, my knees are twisting to the right and my left arm is really reaching out toward the left side and it feels so good on my shoulders. We're eventually going to switch sides if you're doing a side and then the other. Otherwise, just keep twisting back and forth. Maybe this time twisting the knees to the left, stacking them, or just keep going. I don't feel the same amazing shoulder stretch on this side. Interesting. Notice any holding or gripping that's not necessary to keep you here for another breath. And then making your way back up to the center. If there are any last movements, poses, stretches, etc., that you'd like before our final rest, go ahead, move through those now. Otherwise, grabbing any props you need for a cozy Shavasana meditation to close. Shavasana here for the next couple of minutes. We'll simply breathe and gaze up at third eye center. So with your eyes closed, you can still kind of look up toward the forehead, maybe coming to sense this area as the screen of the mind. Let's just breathe and bear witness to the mind manifesting maybe colors or shadows or thoughts or just darkness, calmness, serenity. Let's just step back into that witness role and watch what unfolds here at the screen, upon the screen of the mind, third eye center. Eventually, when it's time to reawaken, let's deepen the breath, maybe kind of blinking the eyes or just turning your gaze away from third eye center as you wiggle fingers and toes, maybe yawning or stretching. Eventually making your way onto either side, the fetal position for a breath or two. Practicing being in no rush. And then pressing your way up to a comfortable seat. Let's join hands together at heart center to seal in our practice today. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we have peace in our actions, peace in our words, and peace in our thoughts. May all beings everywhere experience this peace. Bringing your thumbs up to third eye center. Let's seal it in with a little bow forward together now. Thank you.